What is going on, everybody? It's good to see you guys. Feels like it's been a really, really long time, hasn't it? It feels like it's been a while. But glad to be here talking with you guys, especially today. First day of OTAs with media in attendance. So, therefore, it feels like the first day. So, basically, what we're going to be talking about today, we're going to talk about OTAs. We're going to talk about some of the press conferences that were had. We heard from Shanahan. We heard from Warner. We heard from Kittle. We heard from Jimmy. So we'll take a look at some of the things that they've said. We'll also take a look at some of the news. I think we might start with some of the news that started or came from today's press conferences. So I figure we get into that right away. So right away, right off the bat, we got news today that Weston Richburg was retiring or is officially retiring. There's been plenty of conversations and whispers and things of that nature for quite some time now that Weston Richburg might actually retire. Actually, when I had Mike McGlinchey on with me and we were talking a little bit, he almost slipped it. He almost slipped it. I didn't want to pick up on it. I didn't want to out him for it. He kind of let that thing go a little bit, so I was expecting it. But Weston Richburg retires. Obviously, the 49ers have made the roster moves and everything to continue to go about their business, obviously bringing in Alex Mack and shoring up more offensive lineman depth by bringing in Aaron Banks, by bringing in Jalen Moore, as well as Alfredo Gutierrez. None necessarily centers, but still the depth is needed. With Weston Richburg, it hurts in the sense that Weston was playing really good football for the 49ers back in 2019 before he got hurt heading into the playoffs. He had really kind of solidified that offensive line. So it was a big shot to lose him. And obviously we saw some of the ramifications in 2020. But you know what? Weston Richburg is off and heading into retirement. Obviously not on his own terms due to injuries and things of that nature. I believe he had 3 surgeries, and it was just too much to overcome. He's hanging it up, calling it quits, due to injury. So we wish Weston Richburg nothing but the best as he goes on to his future endeavors, whatever it is outside of football. Almost full attendance at OTAs today. Sounds like only 2 players weren't in attendance. Nick Bosa being one of them. He's still rehabbing in Florida. All the reports coming from Kyle Shanahan indicate that everything looks fine. Everything looks dandy with his recovery, with his rehab. We've seen some video of Bosa coming back, and looks like he's running, he's cutting, he's doing all those things. So the anticipation is he will be ready to go come training camp. So that's great news. And again, it's OTAs, so it's not necessarily mandatory. There are roster bonuses and things like that kind of built into these workouts, but he doesn't have to be there, and he's rehabbing in Florida in his home state. So he's doing all that. And so we look forward to seeing Bosa here pretty soon. We got to see Jimmy and really get to talk to Jimmy a little bit more. I think one of my biggest takeaways was nothing that he really said, just kind of the vibe of Jimmy. I feel like Jimmy is very comfortable with where he is right now. I feel like he's comfortable with the decision that's been made by the front office. I feel like he's comfortable with, the moves that have made this offseason, not in the sense that he's just okay about it, but he's come to grips with it in the sense of mentally he looked, and to me, just the vibe I got from Jimmy was that he's okay. Like he's okay. And he's ready to go head first into this battle, into training camp, whatever it may be, whatever the plans that the 49ers have in place for Jimmy Garoppolo, he seems okay. And that was my biggest thing, because one of the things that I took away from the press conference with Jimmy, he's always been a little bit timid. I wouldn't say timid, but you could sense, he's probably not a big, in front of the camera kind of guy, kind of always got that vibe. But today he just felt at peace. I don't know how else to explain it. It just felt like he was comfortable with himself. He was comfortable with the situation and the way he talked about it. It just felt like he was okay. And one of the things that Jimmy does really well is he's really good at answering questions without saying anything. He really does. He really knows how to answer a question without saying a word. So he did that really well. But he did mention that, him and Trey Lance have hung out a couple times. He mentioned Trey being a really cool guy. He mentioned that the relationship between him and Trey, he just kind of wants it to occur naturally. He's not trying to force anything. He's not trying to go over the top and be someone he's not. So I think with Jimmy, and my biggest takeaway, even with the video that the 49ers, the video that the 49ers posted to their main account maybe about a half an hour ago, 45 minutes ago, just the way he introed George Kittle as whatever he said, the best tight end in the world or whatever. Again, it's a different vibe from Jimmy. Jimmy, he's not worried about losing his job. He's not worried about the 49ers drafting another quarterback. He's not worried about the 49ers having 5 quarterbacks in camp because it's already happened. It's already there. And it just feels like he's processed it. He's gone through it. And he's ready and he's hungry. And I kind of feel it in his vibe. And that could just be me misinterpreting the situation, misinterpreting Jimmy. But I get the vibe that Jimmy's doing okay. Jimmy's going to be all right. That's one of the things that we've talked about, with the situation, bringing in Trey Lance, having a Jimmy Garoppolo on the roster. What does that room look like? How does that dynamic work? Is it awkward? Is it weird? Is it just weird knowing that the future of the franchise is in your room? And we used to call you franchise. I just feel like Jimmy Garoppolo is going to go about his business. He knows what this league is. He knows how this league operates. So I really just feel like Jimmy is at peace. He's at peace with his circumstance. I think if you when he would kind of think back when they asked him about when the situation going on, I'm sure it brought up some uncomfortable feelings, and you could kind of see that it did. But in regards to his response and the way he just handled himself, it just felt like Jimmy's ready, man. Jimmy's ready. So we'll see what happens in camp. I don't know what his future holds for the 49ers. I imagine he'll be here on the team. I imagine he'll be here at the start of training camp. I imagine he'll be here to go into the season. So with that being said, that's an open competition. And I like it. I like it. I think it will be good. I think it'll be good for the whole room. I love that there's 5 guys in there. There's going to be a lot of competition at the quarterback position. So, and it all starts with Jimmy, honestly. It all starts with Jimmy. And I think with what we saw from Jimmy today, his vibe, his tone, the things that he said, for what it was worth, I think Jimmy's ready. And I think he's going to be able to manage this and play to his best potential. Again, I talk about it all the time. One of my favorite quotes that I ever heard from Jimmy Garoppolo was, he loves being the underdog. Well, guess what? There's no bigger underdog than 2021 Jimmy Garoppolo. So we'll see what happens. But I think the competition is going to be kind of litty coming into training camp. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's only going to make the team better. And I think out of anyone that could have went through this last 4 months of the offseason and come out and have the vibe that he's had today, hell yeah. Good for you, Jimmy. I want nothing but the best for that guy, whether it's with us, whether it's with another team. I don't know what's in store. I'm not in that front office. But if Jimmy's going to come out being a team guy and ready to compete, hell yeah, let's go. Fred Warner went up to the podium today. he had mentioned that he wants to be a Niner for life. Kyle Shanahan also mentioned that the negotiations hasn't necessarily started yet. So I think it's a good time now to get everyone's hashtag pay Fred Warner's in the queue, get them all ready. Everyone start getting those fingers ready. Hashtag pay Fred Warner is going to be coming in tough this offseason. And that's just, now it's become a thing that we like to do. That all started with Fred Warner when, hey, guess what? It was tough to get, I might have said Fred Warner, with George Kittle. Guess what? It was tough to get George signed. It was tough to get George the deal that he wanted, and that hashtag was rooted in some real stuff. But now it's kind of morphed into, you know what? As of right now, we don't know. I don't think there's any ill will at play in regards to Fred Warner's deal. So as of right now, it's all in good fun. So get your hashtag pay Fred Warner's ready, because we got to pay that man's his monies, because he deserves every cent. And not only is he a leader of the locker room, he's a leader of the fan base. Got to get him his money. So hashtag pay Fred Warner, get him ready. So love to get Fred back. Fred said he wants to be a Niner for life. Again, that's music to our ears. So as long as everything works out as it's intended. Now, again, take your fandom away for a second. Fred Warner is going to be looking to get paid likely as the highest paid middle linebacker in NFL history. Now, it would be silly of me to say that that's just going to happen, and it's not going to be a hard road, and there's not going to be intense contract negotiations, and it's not going to come down, to the wall. It's going to be a tough negotiation. It really is, especially with how Parag Marathe and John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan go about their business. They're very cognizant of their dollars and cents. So I think Fred Warner will get it. It's gonna be a tough road. It's gonna be a tough road to get there for Fred, his representation, and all those types of things. But that being said, I believe he gets paid. I believe Fred Warner, we'll eventually see the report that Fred Warner will be the highest paid middle linebacker in NFL history. Right now, I believe they are waiting for Darius Leonard, the Colts middle linebacker, who is in contract negotiations right now with the Colts, because I guarantee he will likely come out and be the highest paid linebacker in history. And then Fred Warner, his representation, they're going to want to see what he got, compare, contrast, of course, try to take it above that next notch, because, I don't watch a ton of Colts defense. I've watched Darius Leonard play. I know who he is. I know his traits. I know how he operates. But Fred Warner's just different. Now, Darius Leonard's different too. He is. But Fred Warner's just a beast, man. He's the best middle linebacker in the NFL, you ask me. He's been that for a couple years now. He's finally just getting the recognition. So I expect Fred Warner to be the highest paid middle linebacker in the entire NFL. So I imagine they're going to wait to see what Darius gets, use that as the bargaining piece, kind of setting that as the baseline for what Fred gets. So I don't think they're in any rush, honestly. I really don't think they're in any rush, because they got to see what some of these other boys get paid first. But we got to get Fred paid. We got to keep Fred around. Fred's a man. Got to keep him around. Jalen Hurd update. He's at practice. He's working off to the side with the guys. But he is there. He's rehabbing. Of course, all the reports are what you would expect. What happened now? Uh-oh. Do we got a Bosa bomb? Do we got a Bosa bomb? Wow, he did. Nice pull. Okay, you do got one. Wow. Okay, so this is the news. Breaking news, everyone. Breaking news. You see it in the chat. Running back Jeff Wilson recently underwent surgery to repair a torn meniscus. Wilson is expected to miss 4 to 6 months, meaning he will be sidelined to start the regular season. Ooh, that's tough. That is tough. Oh my goodness. All right, how am I going to post this? Let's figure this out. All right, bear with me, guys. 49ers, Jeff, running back. All right. And for those of you who don't know, no, I'm posting right now. So bear with me. 49ers running back Jeff Wilson is expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks after repairing a torn meniscus. Woo! Woo! That's not fun. That's not fun at all. That is not fun at all. Oh my goodness. All right. So, sheesh. That changes a lot, guys. That changes a lot. I know some don't think it does, but I think it does. Wow. Hold on. Let me get this thing out. We'll get talking about it in a second. Come on now. Come on. Give me. Save image as. All right. So we got some breaking news here on the show. So, wow. So 4 to 6 months. That's a long time. 4 to 6 months for a running back. Again, it could have more implications than 4 to 6 months. I mean, come on, guys. Like, you're not running for 4 to 6 months. That means you're not in football shape. That means you're not only rehabbing your knee, but you're trying to get into shape. You can't run. You can't cut. You can't do all those kinds of things. This could be more of a middle of the year to late year injury until we see him. The impact now for let's see. Hold on a sec. I gotta try something. All right. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this, guys. So if you're on Instagram, if you want to stay on the live, head over to YouTube. I'm going to bring down the live on Instagram just so I can post, and I'm bringing it back up. So that's the word. If you're on YouTube, you're still seeing this. But let's get this thing going. Head over to YouTube if you want to keep going. I'll bring it back up in about 5 minutes. Okay. All right, I got to post this, though. Dang, that sucks, man. I've been drafting Jeff in dynasty football leagues, too. Like, I've been thinking he'd be getting I don't know, 6 to 8 touches a game, maybe. If an injury occurs, he could step into more time. But just a big blow for Jeff Wilson. That's tough, man. Jeff Wilson Jr. goes down 4 to 8 weeks with a torn meniscus. Sheesh. That stinks. And I actually kind of felt, did I say weeks? Months. I apologize. It's 4 to 8. It's 4 to 6 months, which then will trickle into the season. So like I said, though, there's a lot more to rehabbing knee injuries, especially if you're a running back, than just making sure it's healthy. You got to be in game shape. You got to be able to strengthen and all that kind of stuff, man. That hurts. Wow. All right. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Sheesh. I keep saying weeks. My apologies. It's months. 4 to 6 months. Jeff Wilson will be out. Yeesh. All right, let me get this thing going. Okay. 49ers running back Jeff Wilson Jr. is expected to miss. I hope I didn't put weeks. Let's see. I put weeks. This is what happens when you are doing a live and having to post at the same time. I even wrote on my tweet weeks is expected to miss 4 to 6 months after repairing a torn meniscus, per Mike Garofolo. All right. Copy. Repairing torn meniscus. Go tweet. Okay. Don't tweet and do lives at the same time. It's dangerous. Typos and mistakes are bound to happen. So let's get this. Okay. Tweet. All right. Jeez. Sorry, guys. Okay. We're back. So, impact right away. If you are a fantasy football player and you drafted Trey Sermon, good for you. Good for you. I got a couple Trey Sermon shares, as many as I could grab. I got at least 3. So that standpoint makes the production a little bit better, but still, ouch. All right, we're going back live on Instagram. Okay, back live on Instagram. Don't tweet in live. Seriously, Crumel knows. Don't tweet in live. It gets dangerous. You might tweet something that you did not mean to tweet. All right, let's regroup. We're getting Instagram back. So Instagram is getting back. Instagram is just finding out now that Jeff Wilson Jr. will be out 4 to 6 months. Wayne Gallman just might have. Is it months or weeks? Someone help me out. Is it months or weeks? I got to pull up the tweet again. Y'all are freaking. No, it's months. It's got to be months. Hold on a sec, guys. Thank you. Jeez. Thank you. You guys are all trying to twist me up. See, I told you, I'm tweeting and doing lives at the same time. Got to be careful. Got to be careful. It's months. Thank you, guys. I knew it was months. Someone's trying to twist me up. But anyways, Jeff Wilson now is down for 4 to 6 months. Months. Not weeks. Not days. Not hours. Not minutes. Months. Oh, man. So, unfortunately, it's not a laughing matter. Trying to reel it back now that all my posts are out and they're figured out. Huge impact because, honestly, I felt that Jeff Wilson would be a big part of the rotation this year. I felt Jeff Wilson would get a decent amount of touches. I talked about it, maybe 6 to 8 touches a game, which might not seem like a lot, but when you have a running back room that you're constantly rotating running backs and you try to keep fresh legs in there, especially with the offensive coordinator, head coach who loves to run the football. You always want to have fresh legs. So, and Jeff Wilson ran really well for the 49ers last year. So I really felt like Jeff Wilson was going to have a decent workload. I thought he was. Now this changes everything. Like I said, he's going to miss the beginning part of the season, and who knows what the impact is to getting back up to game speed. Not only just getting healthy, but getting back up to game speed, getting back up to, game conditioning when you can't run for 4 to 6 months. Who knows how long it will take to get back up to speed, to be able to grind that out. That's just a tough injury again for a running back. These guys just take hit after hit after hit. I swear, man. But yep, Jeff Wilson is out 4 to 6 months. Of course, I think that means a lot for Raheem Mostert. I think it means a lot for Trey Sermon. I think it means a lot for Elijah Mitchell, and I think it means a lot for Wayne Gallman. I think that just saved Wayne Gallman's roster spot. I didn't really know how Wayne Gallman was going to fit in. I like Wayne Gallman a lot. I'm going to go on record and say I like him a lot. He deserves a decent role in the NFL where he's getting touches every single game. Yes, Hasty is still available, but when you look at the stack of running backs, I think Hasty and Mitchell are going to be competing for that last roster spot. Hasty could find himself back onto the practice squad again. I look at Elijah Mitchell, 6th-round pick versus Hasty, undrafted free agent. They don't carry the same value. So I could see Mitchell kind of jumping Hasty, and I think Mitchell's that good that he can jump Hasty and is actually a more complete back than Hasty. But in regards to everyone else, obviously the Julio Jones thing has been a big hot topic. Again, are the 49ers going to trade for Julio Jones? Are the 49ers, going to be super active in going about getting that done? Well, if you want to look at compensation, what the 49ers could give up to acquire Julio Jones, one of the things that I've been quietly petrified about, because I love Raheem Mostert. I'm a big Raheem Mostert fan, and I want him to stick around, and I want him to get a contract. But you look at the Atlanta Falcons running back room, they really have no one. It's Mike Davis and a bunch of nobodies. So I was honestly kind of petrified that Raheem Mostert could, don't know, haven't heard, this isn't a report, just saying that just a little scared that he could be a piece if they were to go get Julio Jones. Now I don't think that's the case. I think the 49ers would be remiss to head out into this year with Trey Sermon as their starting running back with not a ton behind it. So that, I think, the Jeff Wilson news, I think that changes all that craziness of potentially moving, Mostert, if that was a possibility. Not saying it was or is, but I think that locks down Mostert, which I'm happy about. I don't want to see Mostert going anywhere. So I kind of feel like that locks Mostert down. Mostert's not going to get traded because we need that depth now. We need that veteran presence. So you keep Mostert. And if you're going to go trade for Julio, you got to trade something else, because I don't think you can move Mostert now, or if that's what they're requesting, it makes Mostert's value go up. Because, again, the NFL, this is a business of supply and demand. The Falcons have really no running backs. So there's a supply and demand issue there. And for us, for a second there, it felt like we had a surplus of running backs. Now, just with this one bit of news, with Jeff Wilson going down for 4 to 6 months, I don't see any running backs being moved out of this room at all, or even being considered, whereas maybe it felt like it was a bit of a luxury before. Now, not so much. So what that means, though, is Trey Sermon, and I really believe Wayne Gallman will be battling out for wide running back 2 and or third down back. Wayne Gallman could just win being the third down back. Trey Sermon could be the number 2 in rotation when it comes to running between the tackles. We don't know. It is literally second day of OTAs. We have no idea how any of this is going to play out, other than the fact that we know we're not going to have Jeff Wilson for the beginning of the year. So that being said, that changes some of the dynamic. So the most to gain, like I said, Mostert is still sitting atop that depth chart. He's still the number 1 running back on this team. I would say next in line right now, who knows how camp goes through and everything plays out. I kind of got Wayne Gallman right there behind Mostert now, because Wayne Gallman is a very, very good, well-rounded, do-it-all type of back who really hasn't got a ton of opportunity. So honestly, right now, based on the veteran presence that he brings and what he knows and what he has, again, in my opinion, you make rookies earn jobs. You don't give rookies jobs unless it's like a straight up need or something. But in my opinion, you go into camp. Wayne Gallman comes out with the 2s. Trey Sermon right there at 3. And then that's where we see our next kind of battle. Is it Elijah Mitchell? Is it JaMychal Hasty? And then we see that kind of bounce around. But that's honestly how I see it. I think Wayne Gallman is super underrated. And like I said, rookies got to earn the job. You got to win it. You got to come out and you got to beat the guy, show that you're better, show that, one, you understand the offense, because again, we're not stacking up pure talent. We're not stacking up Wayne Gallman versus Trey Sermon, pure talent. Because I think if you're looking at it from a pure talent perspective, I think you would lean Trey Sermon. But that's not, football is more than just pure talent. A lot of it is mental. And especially for running backs also have to be able to pass protect, which means not just picking up blockers, but understanding protections, understanding your role in the protections. And again, that can be something that is a little harder to pick up for some players more so than others. Wayne Gallman, being in the league this long, and as long as he has been in the league, he would have to know how to pass protect, something that he is actually pretty decent at. So like I said, Wayne Gallman comes in with the experience. He comes in with the understanding. And as of right now, that puts him above Sermon. Sermon's got to show the coaching staff. He knows protections. He knows all the small nuances of playing the running back position. Then you can kind of see that battle play out. But I think they're going to have to make Trey Sermon earn that number 2 role behind Mostert. But it's going to be really interesting, man. That's some crazy, crazy news. As we are on live, that broke while we were on live. We were going to be talking about all different kinds of OTA stuff and all that kind of stuff. But we got injury news. And if we want to talk about it really quickly from a fantasy perspective, I am currently in, I believe, 9 dynasty leagues. I believe in all 9 of my dynasty leagues, I've had all my rookie drafts. Trey Sermon and there's typically only 3 to 4 rounds in rookie drafts for dynasty, if you are unaware. And so in these drafts, you're only drafting rookies because your teams are already set. They carry over from the year before. And so Trey Sermon has been going end of round 1, early second round in rookie drafts. So he's typically the 4th running back off the board. The ADP up until this point has been Najee Harris. Then it goes Travis Etienne. Then it goes Javonte Williams. Trey Sermon has been the 4th running back off the board in rookie drafts. And that's been constant in every single rookie draft. That's how it's fell. Honestly, if all those drafts were to re-happen and, reset with the news of Jeff Wilson being out 4 to 6 months, that then jumps, in my opinion, that takes Trey Sermon and jumps him in front of Javonte Williams. Now, Javonte Williams is a really good running back. He is. But if we're looking at it from fantasy, it's much more, again, than just talent. It's opportunity. And with the Denver Broncos, you have Melvin Gordon. You have the leftover that they drafted, I think, in the second round not too long ago. I think they also brought in another guy. So there's a logjam for the Denver Broncos and Javonte Williams. So honestly, this news has a big effect on fantasy. And at least from a dynasty perspective, yeah, we're talking about Trey Sermon. Royce Freeman, thank you. Royce Freeman is the other Denver running back. So honestly, start grabbing Trey Sermon in your fantasy drafts that are going to be coming up in a couple months. Trey Sermon is a sneaky get. Before you might have got good value on him, say goodbye to any value Trey Sermon would have provided you because he's going early. He's going early now. But man, crazy news, man. Crazy news. So we'll see. So right now, again, if we just look at the depth chart, it's Mostert and then unknowns. Wayne Gallman, Trey Sermon, JaMychal Hasty, Elijah Mitchell. Austin Walters was waived last week. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to know the timing of this news because if they figured this out around the draft or before the draft, would make a little sense more sense into why they drafted 2 running backs. I'm not sure of the timing. Again, I believe the way it was reported is that he just now received surgery. So who knows when the actual injury occurred. Man, crazy. 4 to 6 months. So that's tough. That's big tough. So yes, get well, Jeff. You want Jeff to get well, get back. Like I said, he was playing well. I thought he was gonna to do some things. Oh wow. Working on me on YouTube's calling out Trey Sermon, Rookie of the Year. Woo! So what kind of stat line would Trey Sermon need to put up to become Rookie of the Year? Keep in mind, Trey Lance is on this team, and it's almost impossible to beat out quarterbacks that play well. But what would Trey Sermon need to do to win Rookie of the Year? I'm thinking double digit touchdowns, 20 plus, 30 plus receptions, maybe like 400 receiving yards, solid 900 rushing yards. Sheesh. That'd be a lot of production. And for Sermon to get that type of production, then I think you're calling for more injuries, which I don't think we want. Like I said, again, we still got Mostert, guys. We still got Mostert. Remember, go back to 2019. Everyone transport to 2019 when we saw the offense working the most efficiently. Rotation at running back. Tevin Coleman started damn near every single game, but Tevin Coleman didn't finish every single game. And then it wasn't until the end of the season until Mostert took over and really, really took off with the offense. So it would take a lot of things to happen, I think, for Trey Sermon to win Rookie of the Year. But never say never. Never say never. Oh, Michael wants to talk about Ross Dwelly. I'll talk about Ross Dwelly. Mike McGlinchey talked about Ross Dwelly. Just again, talk back to that 2019 season. Ross Dwelly had to fill in for injured George Kittle. He had to fill in for injured Kyle Juszczyk. He had to be used in multiple different roles. He also had many big plays. I'm a big Ross Dwelly fan. So, yeah, I like Ross Dwelly. Ross Dwelly's great. Super underrated. Super underrated. He does a lot for this offense. He really does. It's peanut butter Dwelly time. You know the vibes. But yeah. So, anyways, like I said though, and who knows? Maybe Jalen Hurd gets healthy. We see a little Jalen Hurd in the backfield. Maybe a little bit of Deebo Samuel in the backfield. Who knows? Kyle's going to be okay, I think. I think Kyle's going to be okay. He'll figure out how to make it work. Obviously it's so early into the offseason that you just treat, unfortunately, to just say it bluntly, you just treat Jeff Wilson like he's not on the roster. Of course he is. And of course you want to plan for him to get back, but there's going to be some time where he's not going to be available. So you have to continue to build your roster and build out your team to be able to play without him. So super unfortunate news to hear Wilson go down. Man, that's crazy. Super crazy. If you're in Dynasty, go buy Trey Sermon stock immediately. Also buy Elijah Mitchell. I think that's who I'm going to go be buying, Elijah Mitchell. Also underrated, go grab Wayne Gallman. Go grab Wayne Gallman wherever you can in Dynasty Fantasy Football. You never know. He's probably sitting there on the waiver wire heap. You could pick Wayne Gallman up, and who knows, might even turn into running back 3, potential. Who knows? But yes. My guy Carter says it best. We have Bobby Turner, the X factor to our running backs. Oh, Nick T, my guy. Thank you. Appreciate you. I love you. Thank you, Nick. Sheesh. I mean, I can talk I can talk fantasy already because, like I said, I've already drafted in like 7 of my Dynasty leagues. I'm drafting right now in 2 leagues. So I can talk about Dynasty every single day of the year. Big shout out to Nick T on YouTube. Big shout out Nick T on YouTube. I really appreciate that. That means a lot. Thank you so much, man. I really do. In redraft leagues, you'll be able to get Gallman for free. He won't be drafted. You'll be able to pick him up after the draft. All that good stuff. Trey Sermon stock, he's to the moon. Trey Sermon right now in fantasy, he's like Dodge. They're to the moon with Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon's stock just completely changed with one bit of news. That's pretty wild. Pretty wild. But yeah, it's wild. Wasn't expecting to talk about running back injuries as of right now. Do you guys want to, if you guys want to ask some questions, I'll start looking to you guys. How can you watch the live press conferences? So normally I'm better about posting links to the live press conferences. It just kind of snuck up on me today. But if you want to watch the live press conferences, go ahead and subscribe to the 49ers YouTube channel. They've been pretty good about showing the press conferences to the fans. So that's pretty nice. If you want to catch these press conferences, 49ers YouTube is a great source, and they have those for us. And if they don't have them live, they typically post them after They're normally pretty good about getting us that kind of stuff. Alyssa asked on YouTube, what do we think Fred Warner's contract will look like? I think it will be large. I think it will be very big. I think it will approach quarterback money. I don't think it will be as big as Trent Williams' contract and his annual dollar figure. But from my understanding and everything I've heard about Darius Leonard, who is the middle linebacker for the Colts, it's my understanding that he's looking for $18 million a year. So I would have to assume that if that's what Leonard's asking for and going for, that Fred Warner will require something in that same ballpark. So we're talking quarterback money for Fred Warner. We knew this was coming. We knew this was headed down our way. Obviously, 49er fans, we know how good Fred Warner is, and we knew this day was coming that we would have to pay him. And it's gonna come with Bosa. Bosa might be $20 million a year plus. So we got some big time contracts coming up. So we're gonna have the highest paid tight end in history. We're gonna have the highest paid tackle in history. We're gonna have the highest paid middle linebacker in history. We're gonna have the highest paid edge player in history. Parag Marate, do you, boo? Do you? I don't envy Parag. Parag Marate, as John Lynch would call the Fed, has done amazing work this offseason to ensure the 49ers could re-sign and sign some of these free agents and still have money left over. No, we are not trading Nick Bosa for Julio Jones. Get out of here. But that being said, with Fred Warner's contract, I imagine it's going to be a big one. I imagine it's going to be close to quarterback money. It's going to be in the range of 18 to 20 million a year. Multiply that over 4 or 5 years. That's a big, big time contract. But Fred's worth every penny, man. Fred's worth every penny. Give that guy his money. And it's up to Parag Marate to make it all work. It really, really is up to Parag to make it all work. Huge reason for Krumel saying it's a huge reason why no Julio. Now, I haven't got to do a deep dive on Julio with you guys yet. This is something that I've been stewing on for a better part of the month. So I haven't actually, hopped on here and really talked much. And I think I'm actually going to save that for another live so we can focus only on Julio, because I got a lot of thoughts on Julio. And yeah, there's a real possibility he could be coming. From the information that I've gotten and information I've heard, dating back to 3 weeks ago, it sounds like Julio could very well be on his way, and that's paying someone like Fred Warner won't get in the way of that. So, but that's the thing. It's timing. 49ers, and I'm not going to pretend, especially after this past offseason, like I know what Parag Marate is doing. I thought there was no chance that the 49ers would keep Trent Williams, Juszczyk, Verrett, all these guys. I thought there's no chance. I didn't think there was any money. Somehow, Parag Marate signed all of those guys, signed additional guys, and wound up with more money. I don't understand it. Way above my pay grade. We'll leave that with Parag, but essentially how I think it works is there's so many loopholes and there's so many incentives and activators in these contracts that once you deconstruct them, it really changes the outward-facing cap figure versus what is the real fact of the matter. So with Parag, if he wants to go get Julio and the 49ers indicate they want to go get Julio, I have all the faith in the world that Parag Marate will be able to figure it out. I really do. Other than that, I'm not going to dive into it. But I think they can make it work. Fred Warner, Big City says, pay Fred Warner 6 years, $117 million. Nick Bosa, 5-year, $110 million. I mean, honestly, that's what it's going to kind of be looking like, and those numbers are daunting. Just look at those numbers. That's a linebacker, and that's an edge. That's not a quarterback. It's just crazy how these numbers are going up and up and up, and they're only going to continue to go up. Obviously, this year is kind of weird with the suppressed cap. So the cap, I think, is going to take a huge jump up next year. I mean, I think it's at 185 million for these teams to operate within. Gosh, I think it's probably going to be jumped to like what, 220, 230 next year. So that opens up a lot of space. So as it impacted Kittle's deal, and the issues with COVID and not really understanding what the cap would be, has impacts here as well. The opposite way. So that's something to keep in mind when we want to think about money and how it translates over to the next couple years. Remember, cap is going up, and the cap will only go up. It's just at this weird lowered number for now because of COVID, and it will go back up. The TV deals that were striked this offseason are plenty of indication of that. The cap is going to go up, and it's going to go up a lot. So there's wiggle room if you look at it from that perspective. If you look at it from kind of pushing some money out the next 2-3 years, there's going to be some money available. And again, the NFL has to be able to keep raising the cap number to be able because they're going to want teams to be able to keep guys in-house. So they know teams like the 49ers are up against their superstars who need to get paid. All right, so NFL, raise your cap, and that's coming. They're going to raise the cap. Like I said, I think it's going to be 220 in that range next year, which is going to be like, what, $35-40 million jump. I think that's enough money to get a Julio Jones on the roster. I think that's enough money to get Fred Warner signed. I think that's enough money to get Bosa signed. So we'll see what happens. But like I said, anything with Parag Marate, man, I just trust him. Full trust. I'm going to pretend like I don't understand what he's doing. I kind of do. I kind of don't. But like I said, didn't think he was going to come away signing away who he signed and the offers that they signed this offseason. He signed those deals, gave Trent Williams, made him the highest paid left tackle in the NFL. Guess what? Comes out the other end with more cap space. Wow. But speaking of cap space, Weston Richburg, with his retirement, he frees up a little bit over $1 million. So the 49ers get $1 million back from the Weston Richburg retirement. So, it's a little bit. It's enough. That's at least a player. Like a veteran kind of low-level exception type player, depth piece, $1 million in regards to cap hit. But yeah, it's cap's going to be a moving target, which means I don't think we as fans need to fret about money. I think that's one thing that us as fans need to start moving away from is just let these guys do their work, man. Let these guys play Monopoly and do all the things that they need to do. Obviously, we'll keep a track on it and we'll keep a close eye on it. But like when you hear fans start saying, "Oh, we don't have this money for Julio Jones," like, did you think we had money for Trent Williams? Did you think we had money for Jason Verrett? Do you think we had money for Juszczyk, paying all these guys the amount of money that they received? Like, I would have said no. So I think at this point, we don't worry about that. we let them worry about that. We worry about the compensation. We worry about what it takes to get a deal done. We don't worry about the money. That's way above all of our pay grades. We'll let the couple beat writers who are well versed in speaking on cap stay in that realm. It's not my world. I will not go there. You tell them, pay Sourdough Brad. Let's go. So I'll answer this question. Matthew Kemp on Instagram asked, excited for Jalen Hurd? Tempered excitement for Jalen Hurd. I picked Jalen Hurd last season to be my breakout player during training camp. Before the injury, of course. I picked Jalen Hurd to be my breakout. That's when Deebo Samuel was still dealing with the broken foot injury. I don't know if you guys remember that. Hopefully, this early offseason injury news doesn't spark any PTSD in regards to last season. But if you don't recall, Deebo Samuel broke his foot in offseason workouts. And that led into him missing, I believe, 3 to 4 weeks of last year. So as a result, I felt that Jalen Hurd would slot in and fill that role really well. And, be able to put up a decent amount of production for the 49ers. Unfortunately, he goes down for the second year in a row. And at that point, when you have a now third-year player who hasn't been able to make it out of the preseason, it's really hard to put expectation on that player. Now, I can be excited and want to see him and want to see how he performs. But in regards to like any type of expectation for Jalen Hurd, I think you just have to temper all of it. Because you never know. At first, in his rookie year, he was dealing with a back injury. It was being reported that he couldn't even get on a plane to go to the Super Bowl to watch his team compete because of the back injury. Then he has a completely unrelated injury in training camp, tears his ACL. We know players can come back from ACL and all that kind of stuff. But again, it's 2 years in a row. It's a player who's never had real game time, like legitimate NFL game time experience. That's not preseason. Obviously, he's a preseason legend with what he did against Dallas. It's the reason why he's the most asked about player on my page on anything. You guys ask me about Jalen Hurd more than any other player on the team, and it's not even close. It is not by like Jalen Hurd is the most asked about player, at least in my DMs, my comments, all that kind of stuff. Everyone wants to know what Jalen Hurd's up to. Again, from the reports from camp or from OTAs, he's off to the side. He's working with the guys who are rehabbing and doing all those kinds of things. We don't know. Like, we don't know how he's going to rebound. We expect him to be ramping up towards full speed, considering the timing of his ACL injury. But I just got to temper expectations. Am I excited to see a healthy Jalen Hurd? Absolutely. Because he really did look dynamic. He really did look like a dynamic player when he came out and did what he, scored the 2 touchdowns against the Cowboys. You saw a lot of the end arounds and sweeps and things that he would have fit perfectly for based with his size and everything that he brings with it. It's just unfortunately we've never seen him on the on an NFL field. Again, not counting preseason, just never seen him on an NFL field. So with Jalen Hurd, I'm excited for Jalen Hurd, but my expectations are tempered, to say the least. So D-Lo is saying he sees Richie James, Jalen Hurd competing for wide receiver 3 with the dark horse being Juwan Jennings. I like that. So my dark horse for wide receiver 3, I don't know if I'm ready to start the hype train yet. I've been slowly preparing myself because a lot of people get upset when you start hyping up players. Oh man, not everyone loves it when you start hyping up players in the preseason, believe it or not. But a guy that I think I might start tipping the scales towards a little bit. It already started with Richie James. I'm a big believer in Richie James. I think Richie James makes the most sense to be wide receiver 3 and be the one to lock down that spot. But the guy that my dark horse, he said it on Instagram. River Craycraft, come on down, boy. Now, I wasn't expecting that to be my dark horse to win wide receiver 3. But every time I look at him and I watch a little bit more of him, it just kind of pulls me back. He has good traits. Now, I'm a traits guy. I like traits. I don't care what your name is. I don't care what your number is. I don't care none of that. I just look at your traits. And River has good traits. He really does. He has good size. He's better size than I anticipated. His movement ability, the route running. Now, again, he needs more experience. He needs to do things of that nature. But River Craycraft, man. I know some of y'all scratching your head like, what? But I look at River. I look at how he is different from Ayuk, Debo, Jalen, Juwan, Richie's. He's a little bit different than all these guys. I think he's about 6 foot 6'1". Again, sneaky size. It sneaks up on you, and he's got good movement ability. Really good. And again, it's just experience. Being able to see him in live reps and live game time situations, that's going to be the differentiator. But like I said, I'm kind of sneaking up on River, man. The early hype for wide receiver 3 has been easily Richie James, and who I still believe wins wide receiver 3. But the dark horse, the Craycraft, the river is flowing with the Craycraft. Just saying. He's been working with Trey. He's been over there at I think it's Spellman Performance. Those guys breed speed. Don't sleep, man. Don't sleep. Craycraft could be like Adam Thielen. Why? Because he's white. Just so I got a term for my white guys who be balling at positions that typically don't get too much love. I call them white boy supremes. Now, River Craycraft ain't a white boy supreme yet. Adam Thielen is the white boy supreme. You can't get too much more WBS than Adam Thielen. But River Craycraft, man, if he comes in, he has a good year, he puts up some production, and he starts balling, hey, that white boy supreme tag might be coming. It might be coming. Oh, good times. But River Craycraft, man, I like him. I do. He's growing on me. Every time I go back and watch him, I like a little bit more. I like the traits. Again, he's got good traits. It's just putting it all together. And seeing all that good stuff. What about Austin Watkins? Uh, I'm worried about Austin Watkins making the roster, and this has nothing to do with the Diamador Lenore crazy viral video. Has nothing to do with that. Because if you look at that video, again, it was a good rep by Demo. You could see what happened with Watkins. Watkins was setting up an outside move. And so when you set up an outside move, it tends to look a little bit longer. And what Demo did, which was good on Demo, was he shot his left hand into Watkins' right shoulder. And Watkins wants to go right. So the second he does that, he already stalls Watkins out. And Watkins tried to give a big club to get through that punch, and he just slipped. He just kind of, I don't think he was expecting the jab, but he came with the rip to get through it, to slant inside, to fight through the hand on the shoulder. Fortunately, he just slipped. And then on top of that, Demo made a fantastic play, just showing again his awareness, showing his movement abilities and his hands, and Demo went viral. But a lot of people were talking mess on Austin about that play. He did fine. He was just a better rep by Demo, and Austin just slipped. With Austin Watkins, I'm more, again, this was before that clip, because it's the only clip we've seen of Austin Watkins wearing red and gold. But before that clip, the only thing I'm worried about with Austin Watkins is just trying to crack the squad. That's it. He's got an uphill battle. He's got some veterans in front of him. Sanu, Travis Benjamin. Again, some guys coming in to take that next step in Juwan Jennings, River Craycraft, Richie James, unknowns from Jalen Hurd. So he's just got to crack the roster. I'm not worried about him winning an actual starting spot. I'm worried about Austin Watkins. I'm not worried about him. That's just his main goal. And I think his focus, crack the roster. If not, all right, get on the practice squad. It is what it is. So and you guys know I like Austin Watkins a lot. Got to watch him at the Senior Bowl. Got to watch him up close and personal. Been on him since then. It's fantastic that he was able to land here with the 49ers. And I think he's got a good opportunity. But, again, got to earn it. You got to crack the roster. Not worried about the wide receiver 3 spot for Watkins. I think that's too much to put on an undrafted free agent, especially with the room and how it stacks up until this point. And so, like we were talking about, kind of back to the original question about wide receiver 3, that's got to be Richie James, Jalen Hurd, Sanu. I mean, is Benjamin's back? Benny Fowler's on the squad. I don't think Benny Fowler makes a squad. I think that's a camp body. I've followed Benny Fowler since he was drafted in Denver. You were kind of waiting for Benny to take that next step and just never took it. And then he's become a journeyman, veteran, fringe guy. So I don't expect too much from Benny Fowler, to the point where he jumps really anyone on the squad. But we'll see. But again, man, I haven't pulled this thing out in a long time. Should I do it? It's been a while. It's been a long while. Should I do it? I don't know. Do you even know what I'm going to do? Should I do it? It's been so long. It's been mutilated and decapitated and all different kinds of things. But I think I'm going to do it. I think it's tinfoil hat time. So if you guys don't recall, remember all that the news, right, about the private pro day. Good call, Poppy Pablo. Or no, Krumal had it. Krumal had it first. If you don't recall, back when Justin Fields was having his private pro day at Ohio State, there were other teams that were in attendance. Those teams were Panthers, Falcons, Patriots, Broncos. I don't remember if it was the Jets were there too or not, but those teams were there. Those teams all made moves. Some made some trades. Some did some different things. And, you know, with the Falcons being there, and again, when I talked about those teams being there at that workout, it felt like they were discussing trade. They were discussing those kinds of outcomes. And so that's where I think the Julio Jones conversations got started. I think Julio Jones and the 49ers and that whole situation, that started being discussed a couple months ago. Now, and if that's the case, and the 49ers went through the entire draft without drafting a receiver, which felt odd. It felt odd at the time because obviously you have Debo, you have Ayuk, but Debo has been dealing with injury for the majority of his career. Richie James is a bit of an unproven. Now we see him in spurts, and then, of course, look at the laundry list behind him. So I felt that the 49ers were going to be going in to get a wide receiver 3, someone who could eventually become a 1, whatever, one of these guys. They didn't draft anyone. Interesting. And then all the Julio stuff has been happening. Now, got to make sure I don't say too much, but I think it makes sense. I think it aligns. I think with the conversations, I think with how everything has been going down. Again, we've been connecting the dots for months. And guess what? We gotten a lot of those dots right. And I'm just going to say this. Just get ready. Who knows? You never know. You never know. So I think these conversations were had back then. And I think they're still being had right now. And guess what? The reason all of this is picking up this week is because Julio can't get traded until June 1st. Julio can't get traded until June 1st due to his contract, due to the dead cap hit that's left behind. If he were to get traded pre-June 1st, post-June 1st, that's when he's getting traded. There's no coincidence. That he called into First Take or talked to Shannon Sharp and said what he said. That to me felt the timing was too good. It was too good. Monday morning, took over the entire news cycle for the entire day. We've been here, Julio. Julio, come on. Come on, Julio. That was a great organic feeling conversation between you and Shannon Sharp. It felt like, maybe that he didn't know he was. Come on. These guys just fleeced the entire. So one thing I keep noticing, former players, people, the football guys who are now in media, bro, they're using the media like their own fiddle. They have figured out how to control these narratives, push some of the power back to the player, and they're taking full advantage of it. So I don't think that was, I felt like that was, they knew that was coming. And it's, like I said, perfect timing. Essentially, a week before we figure out where Julio gets traded, you just kick up all the hype. You kick up all the potential, more people trying to come in and bid up Julio, bid up the price, whatever. Julio's not returning to the Falcons. So, tinfoil hat season has been in the works for a minute. At least that's my opinion or my observation, thought process. I don't know. I think it's been in the works for a minute. And, whether it happens or not, like I said, nothing in the NFL happens. It's not done until it's done. So until that news comes across the ticker, who knows? But I think that the 49ers are big time in play. So we'll see how it pans out. We'll see how it pans out. If it turns out to be true, I'll feel very happy with myself. But if it's not, then it's the same spot we're in. No big deal. On to the next. So we'll see what happens with Julio. That was my tinfoil hat theory. I had to share with you guys. So we'll see. We'll see. How much for season tickets? Asking the wrong person. I saw, what did 49er Edits posted? Someone selling season tickets, I think for like $4K. It wasn't that much. It was actually like, oh, that's actually not a bad deal. Harry on YouTube's having Odell Beckham PTSD now that he hear Julio Jones news. I remember that. The page was kicking and alive and well for the Julio Jones saga. And that was wild because that was real. That was something that the 49ers were going after extremely tough. Again, takes two to tango. Dave Gettleman said, nope. We're not sending OBJ to the Bay Area, was like the fifth biggest media market, to be able to thrive in an offense that will make him play well. They said, nope, we're going to send him to the Browns, where he can his career can go and die, and then no one can tell Dave Gettleman that he made a terrible mistake by trading Odell Beckham Jr. So it'll see. But like I said, I think that the 49ers and the Falcons have a much better relationship. So we'll see. I really think that something could happen. Could happen there. I really do. Because like I said, I think there's a relationship there. I think they really like Kyle. And I think they would make it work with Kyle. And so we'll see. I'm going to stop talking about Julio because I need to do like a Julio specific segment. Do you guys have any other questions? They won't trade him in the NFC. I don't know. I think it's a little different. Julio's older, man. He's 32. He's going to be 33. Unless they really find a suitor who can give them the compensation that they want. And see, this is the thing. I don't know if Julio has a no trade clause or not. I don't know that. So, but I have to imagine with Julio, his clout, what he's done for the league, what he's done for the organization, I think the Falcons are a good enough organization that they will trade him to a place that he wants to go. I think they will. I think they'll do right by Julio. I think they can both agree that it's time for a change. But I think they won't pull a Gettleman. I don't think they'll pull a Raiders, where we were trying to get Khalil Mack, and they basically just said, No, because we're not trading him across the bay. It's just not going to happen. It's never going to happen. Doesn't matter if you give best trade package possible. They're not going to do it. The Raiders were never going to send Khalil Mack to the 49ers. Didn't matter how good the compensation was. So I really feel like that was kind of the case with Gettleman, more selfishly not wanting OBJ to thrive in a new place, hence sends him to the Browns. I feel like there's a better relationship between the Falcons organization, Shanahan's, John Lynch, all that kind of stuff. So I'm not as worried about that. I think Julio's contract is $15 million. Yeah, it's a lot. But we'll see. We're a week away. What other stuff happened? Again, we were kind of derailed by the Jeff Wilson news. Jeff Wilson news derailed us. What else? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happened today. But let's see what else happened. And I think if we want to do like a full Julio conversation, I'm gonna do like a dedicated one of these for that. That deserves its own dedicated speaking time. So we'll take a look at that. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know. Just try to get back in the groove of things with the lives and all that good stuff. Needed a little break. Needed to refresh the batteries a little bit after the draft. The draft was wild. We were like sprinting towards the draft. Off season was nuts. So I'm just trying to get back in the speed of things, start getting everything planned out, and we'll get everything vibing. So we'll see. But I think that's good for today. Like I said, we'll be hopping on more often to talk. So keep an eye out. We'll be back. All that good stuff. Appreciate everyone hopping on. It was good to chat with you guys. It's been a while. Seen some of these names I haven't seen for a while. Miss you guys. I miss you guys. So it's good seeing you guys. And we'll see. We'll see what happens in the coming days. I think the schedule. I'm not sure if media's back. I was looking at the media schedule, and it's kind of spread out. Kyle Shanahan doesn't like the media, apparently. He doesn't want the media to be able to see nothing. It's like you can see him warming up. That's it. That's all you see, and then you can only be here for a couple days. So we'll see what comes out of that, what other stuff we get from the media. We'll see. I know OTAs are obviously ongoing, but media availability isn't the best. So we'll see how it plays out. We'll see what comes out of it. We'll see what we see. And then, of course, we'll do what we do. And we'll talk about it. So, again, appreciate everyone. We'll be back on in a little bit. All you guys have a great rest of your night. We'll be chatting tomorrow, next day, what have you. All right. Peace, guys. Later.